Hi everyone, I'm Paige Abbott and this is your weekly recovery message. Last week I talked about the difference between introversion and isolation, and this week I wanted to talk about the other side of the personality spectrum, which is extroversion, and the relationship between extroversion, isolation, and shyness. I find that there's a lot of misconceptions and misperceptions about what it means to be an extrovert in relation to these concepts, especially of shyness and isolation. So extroverts, just as much as introverts, especially those with the disease of addiction, are just as vulnerable to isolating, which means pulling away from their usual support network, not wanting to socialize, not wanting to reach out, not wanting to go out and spend time around other people, and just really wanting to focus on escaping with themselves. Now, the difference between kind of taking that healthy self-care time and isolating is usually when people are isolating, they're not doing anything that's very productive or very healthy for them. So for extroverts as well as introverts, whenever they're isolating, there is that focus on wanting to escape. So people will describe just using time watching TV, playing phone games, browsing Facebook, and doing things that really are not very productive and don't lead them feeling with a sense of wellness, but are just a way to pass time and to get away from themselves and their own feelings. So extroverts, just as much as introverts, are vulnerable to isolation. Usually, however, extroverts are more aware when they're isolating because it's such a difference from their inherent nature. Extroverts thrive on connection with other people. They often need to process thoughts out loud, so they like to have people around that they can talk to so that they can gain that clarity in thinking and perspective. So again, when an extrovert is isolating, it generally is more apparent to them, although to move past that inertia created by the disease can be very challenging. I also wanted to bring up the topic of shyness or social anxiety because a lot of people also misperceive that only introverts can be socially anxious or shy. And in fact, a lot of people misinterpret that introversion is shyness or social anxiety, when in reality, extroverts as well are just as likely and just as vulnerable to experiencing social anxiety or shyness as introverts are. Keeping in mind that introversion and extroversion are just referring to our fundamental preference for how we recharge our energy. Introverts prefer more quieter time with less people. Extroverts prefer usually noisier, more crowded environments with more people. So that's very generic difference between the two. So you can understand then that social anxiety, so feeling fearful, feeling inferior, feeling shameful, feeling less than, and fearing being around other people is something that both introverts as well as extroverts are vulnerable to, and once again is a quite common symptom of the disease of addiction, which is impacting relationships and trying to keep people sort of trapped within themselves and their own disease, and it generates a lot of shame. So for both introverts as well as extroverts, there is that need in health and in recovery to pursue actively relationships with other people. So reaching out, connecting, and making sure that you take that time regularly to have interaction and have, deep, meaningful conversations with people where it is more than just about the superficialities of life, where you can talk about feelings, you can process issues. You may not be doing that with everybody in your support network, but to have at least a few key people where you can have that quality of relationship is very important for both introverts as well as extroverts. So if you're an extrovert watching this, I hope that you'll be reflective and really looking at your own relationship behavior as of late and trying to determine, am I on the isolation side of things? Am I experiencing some social anxiety? And really challenging yourself to keep up that inherent nature of yours, which is to be social, to want to chat with people, even in the grocery store or in random environments, and just to reach out and engage, because ultimately connecting with other people will be one of the keys to your continued pursuit of health. Thanks again for watching. I got a few questions and comments after the last video, which is what prompted this video, and I certainly welcome those comments and those feedback at any time. I really appreciate hearing from everybody, and I wish you the best in your ongoing journey of recovery for the week. I'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.